Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. Lately I've been a little bit trolly with this whole lamp thing and I know you want to know what's happened to it. Well, I moved it over to the side and then it got itself a couple of friends. And what's this? Go away. Oh well, that is really rude. Well, I didn't plan on staying in this building for that long. I just wanted to show you that I moved the lamp over to the side. Today we are going to be doing the ABBA caving draw. At last, the tournament is going to be getting underway. It's time to do the draw. I'll explain why it's taken a little bit of time to do that in a moment. But if we go over here, one thing that I noticed a moment ago, have a look at the chickens. They unload and then they load. It's like they have a different loading distance to other mobs, which is quite peculiar. I wasn't expecting that, but I walked over here a moment ago. This is Spumwack's meat factory, and there have been a couple of things popping up around in the commercial area. This is one of them. So if you ever need some food, I think that's going to be the place to go. Over on the side here we have something called Horses for Courses, I do believe. Although that says Horses of Courses. I think this is going to be some sort of breeding facility, and I have no idea who's doing this, but they've designated a little bit of area, so it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on what they do over here. And this looks wonderful. You know, I absolutely love it when people build creatively like this and do things like cranes and construction frames. And this is Pungence and Xisum's construction company. I think there might be a sign on this. Nope. And yeah, why don't we check this out? Why don't we go inside, because they've actually got a building right here. Hermitcraft Construction Company, open for business. And let's have a look. Grab a book, drop a job in the chest. And they don't have any jobs at the moment. And I don't know if I have any jobs for them, but if I do, I'll be sure to come by here. It's a cool little thing they've done. Anyway, let's head over to the ABBA caving building. It's been a while since I've walked over here. This looks well and truly overgrown, so I need to grab some more string and trim some of those vines. But I do like how this looks. I've become very much a fan of using plants and things like that, the flowers with builds. Anyway, the ABBA caving tournament. Why did it take so long to get started? Well, we said the starting date was the 1st of December, at least I said that in my video, and then a few days later we were going to have our meeting, our Hermitcraft meeting, and we were 1 or 2 names short, so I thought, why don't we wait to that? And now it's a couple of days later, I'm recording, and it'll be a while before this video goes out, but we're about to get everything underway. So these are all of the people who have put their name into the chest to participate in the tournament, and there is one more name that is not in here, who I spoke to earlier. That is Red Eyes, so we need to go grab his name. There it is, and I've got a ton of junk in my inventory, and we need to put it in this chest here. So we've got 5 rows of 3, so that's 15, and Red Eyes' name is 16, which is the perfect amount of people that we need to play. So I've been thinking about how can we randomize this, because we need to randomize from 16 different names, and I realized if we put down 2 dispensers, we can divide this into 8 in each dispenser, and when we activate them at the same time, it's going to pull out a name from each dispenser randomly, and then they can be the 2 people who are paired against each other. And that is basically the way we're going to do the draw. So one of the things I wanted to do is put every person's name into an item frame, or at least a piece of paper, and then it will appear like this, and then we can say this person is playing this person. I could even put a bit of paper that says versus in the middle. Now, I was thinking of putting the draw in this room here, but the thing is, inside this building there is not a lot of space to put lots of item frames in a row. We're talking about 16 different item frames for 8 matches in the first round. So we're probably just going to build something outside, and you know what, I'm not going to try and make it look pretty. It's going to look ugly, whatever I do, and there is a little bit of space over here. So I'm going to be building a sign. I'll get all of this ready. We'll have a nice big board where we can take a look at the rounds and who's going to play who, and then I guess we'll do the draw. So after giving it some thought, I realised that this board was going to be quite big and it was going to be ugly as well. So let's have a look at it. Bam, there it is. Not very pleasant to look at, and also move the location as well, because the ABBA building is kind of secluded and there's not a lot of space next to it. Now, I could have probably made this about 8 blocks wide and have all of the signs next to each other, but I thought we need to explain for anyone who comes over and looks at this who they're playing against and who it means they're playing against in the next round. So by having all of those item frames together, it wouldn't have been quite as clear. So what we're going to do is put a sign next to each pair like this, and we're going to put the names that appear in those signs as well. So we'll say match 1 is this player versus that player, match 2 is this player versus that player, and then up here we'll have match 1 winner versus match 2 winner, and then that'll be the next two. So that way it should mean anyone who comes over here and has a look at this understands exactly what's going on. But anyway, we should start work on the draw. I am a little weary of there being some mobs around. For example, a creeper over there. I got creepered a moment ago actually. You can see I've been patching it up. And the whole night has been fairly peaceful. I think it just despawned. And by the way, that is Slipgator's base over there. You can actually see it from this area. But yeah, let's do the draw. Anyway, we've got to put all of the names in the chest, because the first thing that I want to do is kind of randomise the order that they appear in my inventory. Although I haven't put them in any specific order, I thought it would be a good idea just to do that. And where is my axe? Never bring an axe with me. So we're going to pick all of these up, and then we're going to put them in left to right. So we'll start with the highest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 names in that one, and then we're going to put another 8 in this one over here. Like that. And now all we have to do is press the button. Amazing how much redstone goes into this. Absolutely none. I was surprising how simple this is, because I was thinking, how am I going to do a randomised draw? We can only put 9 items into a dispenser, and then it became pretty obvious how easy it was going to be after a while. So round 1 is going to be Red Eyes up against Xisum. So that's match 1 right there. Let's do match 2. It's going to be Cleo against Keralis. And this is quite exciting actually. Doing a little draw. Who's going to play who? It's going to be Pungence versus Slipgator. There we go, so that's round 3. And round 4 will be Tinfoil Chef versus Biffa. So I got kind of interrupted there right as I was recording. The next round is Joe Hills and DMAC. Had to cut the video unfortunately. And so we got 3 rounds left. Who will be in the next one? It is Juicetra. And he will be up against Jessassin. There we go. J versus J. And Unhost will be playing Hypno. And so I am in the very last round. I've forgotten who the other person who hasn't gone up is. It is me versus Spumwack. I'm going to be up against Spumwackles. That is pretty cool. So there we go. The first draw has been made. So you can walk up to this and see whose name is drawn against who, which is pretty cool. I like the way that works. But the next thing for me to do is to put signs. So we're going to say match 1 is Red Eyes versus Xisum, and then in the next rounds we can put the signs for those so everyone knows how the whole system is going to work. And then when a match has been finished, they've sorted it out between themselves, the winner can take their name and put it into a slot in the next round, which is pretty cool. And I've also put a little key here just to indicate what round is what, like that. That's pretty straightforward. I don't think that really needed explaining. Yeah, so I'm going to put these signs up and show you it when it's done. Do you know what? I've written the word match so many times now that it has lost all meaning. It doesn't even look like an English word anymore. But there you go, this is finished. And I can't remember if I mentioned why I decided to put it over here. Space was one issue, but also this is going to be quite visible. Whenever you're passing through the spawn area, you'll probably see out of the corner of your eye something going on over here next to the tree farm, and then people will come over here and see all of this. But when my episode goes out, that's when I'm going to contact everyone and make sure they know who they're playing, and then it's up to them to schedule their matches. So if you're interested in this stuff, make sure to subscribe to the hermits that are involved and go check them out, and then you'll be able to see the videos when they come out. Basically, you know how it works. Just a little reminder there. But anyway, the next thing that we're going to be doing is also in this area. I'm actually quite excited to do this because I've got a nice little idea. And I also have some really exciting news, which is I Am Spoon is back on the server. This is his horse. Now, I Am Spoon, if you don't know him, he's been around on Hermitcraft for a long, long time. And then I think he just got kind of tired of Minecraft and took a break from it. But he was telling me he went to Minecon, and when he came back he was really energized to play Minecraft again, and so he wanted to come back on the server, and I had a little chat with him. He came back on, and he is going to be building a little base in this area over here. Now, I won't tell you what he's building, but I thought it was a pretty cool idea, and basically all of the space back there over on that side is kind of taken up now, so we need a second part for our little hermit town, so it's going to be over here. Now, I think Spumwack built this bridge, and I really like it. I kept looking at the space over here. I saw his little dirt path down the bottom, and I was thinking, someone's got to build a nice bridge with like an arc or whatever. But quite simple, just straight up cobblestone, and it looks pretty good. I like the glass in the middle as well. And there is actually a bit of curvature on each side there, as you can see. But it's a nice little bridge, a nice little path, and I like how it's flat and it's got cobblestone on the sides. I think that looks pretty cool with the posts as well. But I was talking to Spoon and we were just saying, you know, where does this path go? Because it starts here and there's Monkey Farm's plot right in the way here, and I don't want to move Monkey Farm. And then there's no real other space to put this path and lead it anywhere. But then after a while, Spoon had the great idea of putting it back here. So if we go behind all of this dirt, there is a little bit of space, and somewhere back there is the other side of the portal. So when you come through the portal, you can walk on into the Hermit Town, go this way. Oh yeah, and winter is coming. I don't know who put that there, but someone is planning some sort of, possibly a prank, I don't know. Could be a reference to a TV show, I think. Yeah, so you can go this way, or you can walk through the portal, and we should break the blocks so we can see what's on the other side, because I know it's a cave. And you can go this way. So what I'm going to be doing is building a pathway in here. As I said, I've got a little bit of an idea of what I'm going to do, which is why I'm quite excited to do this. Got to think about where it's going to go, because we're quite close to this, and if I remove any of these blocks, there's just going to be, you know, it's going to be exposed on the other side. So the path is going to come somewhere back across here, then it will come out, turn to the left, go over to where this path is and meet up with it. So then we have a way to get over onto this side, which is awesome because there is also a tree farm over here, and so it just gives people more space to do more building, which is pretty cool. But enough yapping for now, it's time to start work on this. So work has begun on this path, and while working on it I've noticed something that ruins the landscape around here in my opinion. Let's go across and have a look at the path over here, and then look at the landscape. What looks ugly about that landscape? If you have a look, it's little bits like this. I'm going to point at them with my crosshairs. Loads of these little gaps in the contours that are caused by Enderman, and it looks really bad if you go over here as well. You've got a couple of them right there, some over in the distance, and it just looks awful. You know, they spawn in these dark areas, they take a couple of blocks and then they teleport away, and this is just going to get worse and worse as time goes on, which is really annoying because one of the things that looks nice about this is the contours. So if we have a look over there, that's been less affected by Enderman, at least it looks like it, and it looks really nice compared to this. It just, it roughs it up, and it's really winding me up because I keep looking around and thinking, you know what, this needs improving, but my thing isn't that great so far. But anyway, let's have a look at the path here. What I'm going to do is put down some plants and all that kind of stuff, you know, grass and flowers in this area, make it look good. And I've copied the path that we have on the other side over there, and that path actually has some cobblestone fence with torches. So why don't we do that over here as well actually. The middle I think is there. That looks pretty cool, put some torches on it. And yeah, that's kind of like a little finishing touch there. That's going to look good when we've got some plants around here. But what I thought I would do on the corner, now the alternative was to go straight ahead, turn to the right and then go upwards, but I thought if we go upwards here, we'll make a little overhang like this and we'll try and do something interesting with it. So at the top here we have some glass, and what I'm thinking of doing on the inside down there is making a little mini oasis, so we could have some glowstone underwater or some light sources, you know, some plants, and so there's lots of lush green and blue down there, some sugarcane as well, and just have a sort of boxed in little oasis, so when you walk over this bit there's just something interesting underneath the glass, which I thought would be a nice touch. But at the moment, as I pointed out, this box just looks ugly, and we need to do something different with cobblestone. But then inside here, this is now at the same level as the portal, by the way, and then inside here it's just going to be one straight path all the way down to the end, and then you turn to the right and the portal is going to be here. So what I actually envisioned earlier on and what I decided I wanted to do with this path is just for this area here, so we will get to that soon. I'll show you what it is I had in mind, but I just want to finalise this bit up here. So we're going to try and get rid of some of that cobblestone and put down some plant life in this area as well. So I think it is time for another update, and if you're enjoying this video, please do remember to leave a like. It is always appreciated. But let's go over here and take a look at what's going on. Now, one of the first things you may have noticed over here, we got the bricks at the bottom. Tried to throw in a bit of other texture, that didn't work, that looks silly. However, there's some stone bricks in there. Again, it's grey, but it kind of does a little bit, but I'm struggling with that. I need to come up with some more ideas. Now, this bit over here looks absolutely lovely. I love this acacia tree. This was the second one that I grew, and it was just perfect. We have a little bit overhanging the back of this space and another one coming over the front of the path, and I think that just looks really nice. So down at the bottom here I threw in a few extra logs from the tree that I had before and chopped down. That actually looks really nice, I think. Just adds in a little bit of extra detail and it fits in the right place. And then there's not much else really going on here. There's some hidden light sources, a rose bush, and it's pretty straightforward. Now one thing I've done back here, by the way, and I'm growing some trees to chop down because I need some wood to continue building. I have removed the little border at the back of Monkey Farm's plot just because I saw it there and I was like, well, Monkey Farm can build all the way up to this wall here if he really wants to. So I've sort of removed that to indicate that all of this is his space. And also this stone brick wall here is like the one on the other side. I thought I would just extend it down here as well, and that looks really good. Acts like a little natural divide. Now let's pay attention to what's going on down here as we go around the corner. You can see it's looking alright. Some of the grass still needs to spread, and I feel like there's something missing in there, and I'm not sure what it is. I kind of feel like we're limited with what we can do in this area because the leaves are so dark and dull. They really don't pop out as much as I'd like them to, but that's looking really nice. And every time I walk over here it makes me look down into there because it's like there's something else going on down there and it's completely unrelated to all of this. But anyway, this next bit is kind of looking like I envisioned. I think we need a few things to break this up, but what I saw in my mind when I thought about this path was having some hardened clay on either side at the bottom of the path with some wood. So we got this on top, which is going to go all the way across, and then a light colour like so with plant pots and things like that at the back. So at the moment what I was thinking was that we would have a plant pot on top of each of one of these with a different flower in, and then maybe a light source behind it like some glowstone, and then we'd do something for the roof. However, at the moment I am feeling like they are too high up, and that's going to get rid of that, isn't it? And look at my inventory, I'm getting so annoyed. I'm running out of basic materials to build with, like wood, and my inventory is always full with something or other, and it's just a bit of a nightmare. So if we remove these and put them up at that height, then it's going to make it hard to place down the trapdoors at that height, isn't it? That is something that I didn't consider. Okay, so we probably are going to stick with this over here, and another idea that I had was to break it up a little bit, so maybe every certain amount of blocks. Let's do it on this side over here. We maybe go for something like that, so we put 3 in between each one, and then we have I think I've done that wrong, haven't I yet? But we'll have them evenly spaced, and on top of each one there'll also be trapdoors like that. I think that breaks up the hardened clay quite well. Have to think about that, and I want to bring in some other wooden textures in here as well. So we're going for a wooden and clay tunnel. I want it to be well lit, so we're probably going to have a lot of light in the ceiling and then lots of flowers on the side as well. So if you can envision that, I think you'll like what I have in my mind, and this is actually coming together really well. Before I started building this I was a little worried that I might not be able to get in the details that I like, because sometimes when you think about what you want to build, you can kind of see beyond the blockiness of Minecraft. You know, you can picture details and stuff that aren't quite possible, but this is coming together really well. So again, I'm babbling on about it. I need to do a resource run to get myself some glowstone and other materials as well, and then we will continue on with this. So you know the drill, it's time for me to update you on what's going on, and I've actually spent quite a lot of time, you know, doing this. It's been a case of building and then taking things down and building it up again until we've got something that looks good, and I can feel it right now. Feels like it's all coming together, and it's because of the wood that we have up the top here. So this looks really good, and the next thing we're going to do is put some achacha wood, as Keralis would say, up the top there, and I think the contrast that that's going to provide will be really nice, because if we have a look at the colours we've used already, we've got this kind of paleness on the wall, which is what this wood here has, and then down at the bottom we've got more bold colours, and the achacha I think is going to kind of match the hardened clay. So I think that will really put the finishing touch on this. But one thing that you may notice is that it's pretty well lit. There's lots of lighting on the side. However, in the middle of the path, if we have a look here, you can see it's block light 7. So what we need to do is put some lamps in the middle here, and it's right where these little indents are, which I think is going to look really nice. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to doing the ceiling. I think it's going to look ever so good. Now, one other thing, a little bit of a problem that I ran into, was we had hardened clay on the corner here, and it meant that we couldn't put a trapdoor on it, and it really didn't look good. So I had to bring the path in a little bit, and then I spent quite a bit of time trying out other things in this corner over here, and I felt like that looked best in the end. So it's just a tiny little curve rather than having the achacha wood on, you know, that wall and that wall. But one other thing that I tried first of all that did not work in this room was to put water at the back here. So the plan is to have a material there. I haven't decided what that will be yet, but then we'll have a plant pot in front of it with a flower. And the first thing I tried was to put water up above, have it flow down into glowstone so it's illuminated, and that just did not work. The water was too bold for the colours that we're using here. Now, if you've seen me before, you know I like to build with water, for example Atlantis, although that goes really far back, and there's just a few projects in my mind where water has worked well, and this is not one of them. It doesn't really match with these kinds of colours. But anyway, we're almost there. Just got the roof to finish off, the plant plots to do, and there's one thing that I just wanted to try on camera. You know, I don't do a lot of on-camera building, it's just because when I talk I tend to ramble a lot. But I was looking at the corner here right before I started recording, and I was thinking, that's not actually what I wanted to do, was it? I think I was actually going to put them one block forward there, which would have been a mistake. Well, that's actually the proper place to put it. So we could have half slabs in front of it, then on this corner we could come round and then angle it like that. Do you know what? That looks pretty good. So we'd put some clay back there, but I've got a feeling that this block as well has to be dirt because of what's on the other side. And do you know what? I like to think rather than talk when I'm building, so it's not really being processed very well. I'll tell you what, I'm actually going to do all of that off camera. Yeah, it doesn't quite work, me and recording when I'm trying to build. It's just one of those things I need to be silent and think about what I'm doing. Now this looks really good. There's just one thing that I want to try, which is to remove these blocks. And by the way, I'm actually limited here. I can't change the blocks above or down the side like I said a moment ago. So this is pretty much actually all I could have done. Now we can have it like that, and that means we can probably change that one if we want it to wrap all the way around. Or we can do it like this and have... yeah, that doesn't really look that good, does it? So we will remove that block and the one in front of it. Same on the other side. Grab those and then put it in the corner. Yep, that looks really good. I like that. Let's just stand back and look at that once more. Awesome, I'm very happy with that, and it means that building the rest of this roof should be pretty straightforward. And that's pretty much the last thing we've got to do, although the flower pots. And there is one other little detail that I changed down here, and I can hear a spider up above, so I'm pretty sure I'm about to be bombarded from somewhere. But you saw it just there. I put a couple of melons down there, and they were the... there it is. They were the, what's the word? The contrast that I was looking for. They've got a much brighter colour to them, and so they kind of pop out. And I put one just over there as well, which looks really good. And it looks like I've got some more trees to chop down now, which is good, because what we need next, actually, is a lot of the a cha-cha for the roof. Okay, it is all finished. Let's go and take a look. Now at the moment I have speed on, which is changing my field of view, so I really want that to go away. And boom. There it goes, excellent. Right, so we can look at things normally. Now the flowers as the final touch kinda works, but I'm kinda not sure about it as well. It looks a little bit odd, but I absolutely love this ceiling. Look at that. I knew it was gonna look good, and it did. I'm really happy with actually how all of this turned out. It's nice to do a little bit of building, and again, I've said it many times before, I'm good at interiors but not exteriors. Very much happy with how this has turned out. But let me know in the comments what you think of the flowers, because they kind of look a little bit odd. I can't really put my thumb on what's wrong with them. It's just there's something about it, but I do like it. It does look good, and if we were to remove them and replace them with something else, I'm sure that would look just as good. Now there is one tiny other little detail that I forgot to mention, and it is that I replaced the bricks with wood, which I think looks a little bit better. However, we might actually want more wood underneath it, and then maybe we can bring some wood up into the top of this bit here. But unfortunately my time for recording and playing is running out, and lately things have been very busy, which is why the episodes have been a little bit more casual, getting less done. You know how it works. But things will get back to normal in January, and I do want to do more around here as well. Now I will get a couple of opportunities to play later on. You know, I've been doing some off-camera stuff over at the Nether Farm, so I've got that to show you in the future as well. But I will continue working on this area. I think I want to pretty up all of this bit down here like I did around that side, and also make this look a little bit better. So there's more to come. And one last thing I've just noticed, the top of that, the dirt, the way it's been arranged, I've made that like that deliberately, and I'm not sure if it really looks that good as an entrance from this side, but it kinda works. Kinda works. I don't know. Maybe it needs something else. It looks like it's missing something, but it works when you come up here. Do you know what? Sometimes I just babble on too much. I thought I'd do a little cut, so this is what it looks like from the front. And all I wanted to say is that I felt like I didn't get quite as much done as I would want to this episode. So I hope it has been enjoyable for you guys. And just December, it's Christmas time, it's crazy. And in January, everything will be going back to normal because there's more that I wanted to do here. You know, I wanted to finalise a few more things, especially with this. But I guess I'll be doing that off camera, and I'll be able to show you sometime soon. So, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.